on my knees. I can't take it anymore. It's tearing up my heart. I'm with you. And when we are apart, I feel it too. And no matter what I do, I feel the pain, with or without you. Alright, hey guys, this is AJ Unlimited here to bring you another video. So this is another Listeroo thingy-majigger video type of deal. It's titled 10 Workplace Pet Peeves. So these are just things that I experience or have experienced in my day-to-day work life, and that would include every place that I've worked in my entire life, and especially the place that I currently work. Hold on, the camera is weird. So these are things that are exclusive to the workplace, wherever you go. These are things that I personally have experienced in said workplaces in my almost 10 years of working at different companies. And I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not gonna mention any companies, really. I don't think that'd be a cool thing to do. I'm just gonna kind of generally list these things or discuss these things as I go along, as if it's something that we all sort of experience, but unique to myself. So all my life I have worked pretty much in food service, which is why this is kind of maybe slightly a little bit biased. I have worked in retail very briefly in my past, but that didn't really count because it was my mom's gift shop, so I don't even think I ever got paid for that. I have worked, registers and stuff. I've worked cashiers jobs. So I've dabbled in like customer service and retail, I guess. But for the most part, my job has just been dealing with food or cleaning up after people or serving people or whatever, what have you. Whatever the food service, food industry or restaurant industry entails. The number one thing, first thing I wrote down, is managers telling you to do stuff that they don't do themselves. One very good example of this would be, there's a specific manager that just started working at my job. He just took over because the other previous one left. And he specifically tells us in these meetings, these staff meetings we have every day, to wash our hands for 20 seconds every day, every time we wash our hands. And first of all, nobody here, we're not stupid, we're not dumb, we all know that nobody's going to do that. I would like to see you do that. I don't think he's ever done it once. I've seen him wash his hands before, but I never paid that much attention, so I don't really look. But I'm 95.57% sure he doesn't do that, wash his hands for 20 seconds. There's other things he'll mention too, I can't really remember in the moment, but things that just are stupid. And they are rules that people come up with that don't follow them because they don't have to. People like upstairs in the big chairs, the big positions. They come up with these rules because they call it food safety. They call it whatever they want to call it. They don't want people to get sick. They don't want to cross-contaminate. That's not the real reason. The real reason is because they don't want to get sued. And that's why they have these rules in place, but nobody follows them. And I bet you a penny and a fiddle of gold that this manager himself does not wash his hands for 20 seconds. And that's just one example. There's other things too, such as they'll tell you to, if you wash a dish, you have to make sure it completely dries before you put it away because bacteria can build up. It's like, son, do you know how long it takes for these dishes to air dry? We can't dry them with a towel because particles from the towel might get onto the dish and get into the food and make people sick. So we have to let them air dry. It takes probably 30 minutes for these things to air dry. And just saying, if you did what I do, it's I guarantee you after a day of trying to do this, you would give up too. You would say, forget it. You throw in the towel, say, I'm not doing that anymore. It takes too long. It's very time consuming, very energy consuming. So just, I guess, things that managers will tell you to do throughout your day while you're doing your specific job that these managers probably would never do because they don't do your job, or what have you. Just things that don't make sense and these managers are ignorant to that because they're just telling us what they're being told to tell us. So that's number one. Number two, I listed people doing things that inconvenience other workers. Very first thing that popped in my head as an example would be when people are dumping stuff into a garbage can and it is clearly getting very heavy and very full, and they just they just turn the other cheek. They don't, they don't do anything about it. They don't say anything. They just kind of leave it like that. That makes me very, very mad because I'm one of the people that has to deal with that. And most of the cooks that work there, they don't have to deal with it, or well, they don't get told to do it, and they certainly don't face consequences for not doing it. So people like me and some other custodial workers, they have to deal with that, and it gets very messy and very stressful and very just time consuming and energy consuming, just like the previous one that I listed. Another example would just be like workers leaving messes behind, or doing things like leaving like their used rubber gloves in dishes that I myself or somebody else has to clean. Like, we have to deal with that stuff. You have to throw it away. You have to touch it with your hands. That's disgusting. Don't leave your rubber gloves somewhere where somebody else has to deal with it. Your used rubber gloves or vinyl gloves, whatever. Or like your dirty aprons. You just like, people just toss it somewhere and just leave it. It's like somebody's going to have to deal with that, and you know it. And yeah, it's easy to turn the other cheek, but you're being a dick and you know it. So don't do that. It makes me so mad when people are ignorant about that, and they just treat their job as if it's like it's their home. They could just leave stuff all over the place and make a mess and leave it for however long. It's like, no, it's like, clean up after yourself, for heaven's sake. Number three, I listed managers abusing power. Now, this one kind of ties into the first one, actually, but it also kind of applies to certain tasks that, let's say, these managers think they're like too good for, or they're too like, that's a job for like a person that is lower than me in the totem pole, such as garbage. Matter of fact, one day I went into work, and I had to jump right in and get caught up on my stuff because the person that went in before me wasn't doing a very good job, etc. And there was a garbage can that was getting pretty full, and I just didn't have time to take it out because I was doing my own thing. But I was like, I intended to take it out eventually. I just didn't get the chance yet. But one supervisor and one manager both walked by this garbage can, which is right where I was working, and 2 separate times, probably a few hours apart. Both of them said, "Man, this garbage can's getting really full. Somebody should take it out." And then they would just walk away. And it took me a minute to really process that, but I'm like, hold up. Wait a second. You have 2 hands and 2 legs. You know where to throw the garbage bags. You know where the new ones are at. Why don't you do it? Why are you waiting for someone like me or whoever to do it? You can do it. What, you're too good for that because you're a manager? It's someone like my job like has to do that? A peasant? Because you don't want to get your hands dirty? You're a manager, you're too good for that? That's how I interpreted that. Like, I mean, okay, granted, I get it. I'm a male. I'm a guy. I'm gonna be stronger physically, and it's like kind of like stereotypically a man's job to take out the garbage, right? But no, forget it. Forget that. I mean, especially with all this feminist bull crap going on, because most of these managers I work for are females, and people are fighting for like talking about feminism and like women equality and crap. Like, well, you know what? It's not a one-way street. You gotta own up to that, right? You gotta practice what you preach, if you will. Just managers being jerks and being arrogant because they're managers and they feel like they can abuse their employees because they're managers and they can tell people what to do, and they get lazy. And it's just, I don't know. For me, I feel like if I've never been a manager, so I can't say too much about it because I could be wrong. But I feel like it could be an easy habit to fall into. To be like, I'll just have him do it. I'm gonna go sit on my butt in my office and just send a few emails or make some phone calls. Like, I don't get it. Number 4, I listed miscommunication / dishonesty. And this is one of those things that drives me absolutely nuts, especially since at where I work, there's like machines and equipment that go down for long periods of time. And these managers will give like certain timelines, like, oh yeah, it'll be here soon, it'll be here next week, like the new machine, or it'll be fixed next week, it'll be repaired, it'll be up and running by next week, and next week comes and nada. And then they say, oh, I have to email this guy, I have to make a few phone calls, give me another week, or give me another few days. Oh yeah, no, it'll be here, it's coming, it'll be fixed. Just give me another, it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. Just you gotta trust me. And then it just keeps on getting dragged on and on and on. Like managers not being totally transparent or honest, or not fully communicating to their employees what's going on, because maybe they don't even know, or maybe they do know and they just they just like to keep their secrets. I don't know. Number 5, and this is a big one, is managers tolerating bad behavior or work ethic. And the reason why I list this one is because I'm one of the only people in the kitchen that I work that actually, like, I show up on time every day. I have good hygiene. Like, I make sure I smell good, I look good, I'm cleaned up, and I'm a very hard worker. I just always keep moving. I never stop and lollygag, or I never spend too much time on my phone. I'm very respectful toward the rules and to my management, and I try not to allow that integrity to be compromised too much, because that's part of who I am, and it's part of my job, like, title, or how people look at me is like the guy that they can rely on or depend on. But I still make mistakes, and when that happens, they come down on me as if, like, that's unacceptable, you can't do that. But sometimes these other employees that I work with just crap all over these managers. They're late all the time. They call off like once a week. They show up and they just have bad attitude, or they smell, or like they just don't do their job right, or they blatantly disobey or disrespect the managers, and they just get away with it. I mean, maybe the managers pull them off to the side or into the office and have a talk with them, but there's no actual real consequences, just whatever, nobody cares. Or employees, coworkers that argue, raise their voices, talk back to managers. See, me, even if I was that pissed off at my boss or a manager, I would never, ever raise my voice or talk back or argue or yell at them in any way, because that's just blatantly disrespectful, and you know it. And it doesn't matter how much you hate or love this person, they're still your manager. You can't talk to them like that. It's just plain and simple. But I hear it all the time. People disrespecting, yelling, talking back, and they just get away with it. It makes me so mad. Like, if I did that, I'd probably get fired, just because I'm young, because I'm white, because I'm a male. I can't pinpoint it, but a lot of these people just get away with so much, and it makes me really, really mad. And then not only do they get away with it, but then whatever responsibility that they're neglecting falls on someone else, usually someone like me. Management in general need to sack up and learn how to not take that from their employees, because, yeah, I get it. It's like, if you get rid of them, now you have a gap in the schedule on the roster, and you have to hire a new person, and it's just a big process, and it's a pain in the neck, giant headache. But come on. Number 6, I listed managers giving little to zero notice to, like, a change or an addition or something in the workplace. And one example of this would be, because I work, my job, the way the schedule works is I have to work every other weekend. I don't mind the weekends because nobody's there to bother me, to get in my way. I just zone in and do my thing and just kind of get lost in my own little world, whatever. But there was one specific Saturday I went in and I had to train somebody. And it was some, like, temp agency. This person was very temporary. They weren't, like, permanent. But I had to show them the ropes. I had to train them. I had to show them around. And they did not tell me this. They did not tell me this. They gave me literally like a minute and a half notice. I was so pissed off the entire day, because I'm thinking, like, do not throw me in the deep end like that, ever. Because first of all, I hate training. I don't think anybody likes to train anything, anywhere, at any job. Here's my thing. If I'm going to be thrown in the deep end like that and have to train somebody, at least give me a 24-hour notice. That's just my thing. Common courtesy, right? But no, I had to do that. And maybe, I don't even think they knew. I think this girl just showed up and she was like, all right, I'm here. What do you want me to do? And they stuck her with me, and bada bing, bada boom, I have to train her now. So that is just one of those things. Like, don't ever do that to me, ever. And what makes this even worse is when they avoid you, when the managers like just blatantly avoid you. Like I said, they'll like go hide in their office or something. Like, I can't do that. If I wanna run away from a situation or a person, and avoid them. Like I have to go to the bathroom and hide in there. I don't do that because I'm a man and I like to face my my stuff head on. Some of these managers will they'll do something or they'll say something that they know will upset you, and then they'll try to blow smoke up your arse to make you feel better about it, and they'll just go hide and run away into their office. And like I said, send some emails or check some boxes or make some phone calls or whatever. Number 7, I already touched on this quite a bit earlier, but I'm going to just kind of say it again because this is a huge one, really huge one, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. And that's not fixing equipment right away when something goes down or something breaks, and they just neglect it forever for whatever reason, usually money. And the reason why this one hits so close to home for me is because my job requires a very, very specific machine to do a certain task. And without this machine, it makes my job way more difficult than it needs to be because I have to take, unnecessary extra steps to do my job. I'll just put it that way. And the specific machine, very specific, important machine, has been down. It broke, it went down in March of 2021, and it has been down ever since. And ever since this happened, the management has been telling me the same thing. Oh, it's coming, it's ordered, the new one's coming. It'll be here. It'll be here next month. It'll be here next week. It'll be here. It's coming. Just it'll be here. And it's not here. It's not here. They actually finally did just put it in. Got the new one. Put it in like Friday, a few days ago. And this machine's still not even fully functioning, fully operational, because they have to install a couple more parts and get some other things hooked up to it. Whatever, I don't know. But this thing has been driving me crazy for the past year and a half, which is how long it's been. And they're just kind of dragging their feet, and it seems like they don't really care that much. And for me, it's just hard on me because I don't know, it just makes my job way more difficult, and it just sucks. But there's other things too, like when I have to take out the garbage, I have to put all the garbage bags in this giant compactor, and it pushes the garbage into this giant dumpster thing. It's called a compactor. It pushes it, compresses it, so you can fit more into the thing, this giant container. And this thing went down for the longest time, like 2 years. So we had to empty the garbage bags out by hand and throw them into this other thing. It was a big, long story. It's very messy, very complicated. And they had to replace a part, just one little part on this compactor, but they didn't want to do it because they didn't want to spend the money. And that made me very, very mad for a very long time. Number 8, I listed unrealistic expectations. And an example of this would be when there was a point at my job where the managers were telling me I had to get a bucket of sanitized water just at my workstation at all times, and I had to change it every 2 hours. Here's the thing. I never ever use sanitized water because I just don't need it. I don't ever use it. I never need it. I have dish soap. I can, I use that or whatever, some spray, chemical spray. I never ever use sanitized water. And sure as hell, I'm not about to change this thing every 2 hours because not only is that time consuming, but it's a waste of product. It's like I'm not going to just keep on filling up this bucket with good old, good, perfectly fine sanitized water and not use it and then keep dumping it. It's like, come on, how is that even logical? I get it, it's for sanitation sakes and whatnot, it's just a requirement, but it's a stupid requirement, and I don't do it. And ever since this, they never even mentioned it again. Literally anything under the sun that they could pull out of their butt because some other asshole above them pulled it out of their butt and now telling this person to tell us. It's like, no. Like I said, I get it, it's for safety or to prevent cross-contamination, prevent disease from spreading, but at the end of the day, it's really about just covering their own butts in case there's some sort of lawsuit or something, somebody gets sick and they try to sue. Number 9, and I already touched on this one, is management being cheap. That's just kind of goes without saying. When they're not fixing equipment right away, or let's say they send employees home early because they don't want to pay them, or they pay their employees very, very low because they don't want to pay them more. Or even little things like cutting back on portions. Let's say you work at a restaurant and, I don't know, let's say an order of chicken tenders used to be 4 pieces, but now it's only 3 pieces because they're trying to save money. Little things like that. It's like, come on, I get it. It's the economy and you want to make money. And it is what it is. I mean, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, but other times it's just being greedy, it's being stupid, it's being ignorant, and worst of all, it's just being a bad manager and a bad leader. And that's terrible. I've never owned any kind of restaurant or business ever in my entire life. I've never had employees. I've never had to pay anyone. I never had any of that. But I like to think that if you are the type of manager that's putting yourself first or putting money first above your employees, you are a terrible, terrible manager and you need to be smacked. As a matter of fact, I thought about proposing this idea to my boss. Every single manager should know every single position. They should learn every single position that there is to learn, and they should do it for at least, a week or two and really get to know the position. And they should follow the exact same rules that they expect us to follow, because most of them don't, or they wouldn't. And that makes me mad. Last but not least, this one's kind of a complicated one, and I know why, and that's food waste. In the kitchen that I work, there's a lot of food waste. And sometimes, technically us employees can take some of the food home. I usually do, especially when management, when they're not looking. And I usually get away with it. It's fine. Nobody really cares. Nobody says anything. But I see so many, like hundreds of pounds of food thrown away because they can't, legally they can't give it away to us employees or like homeless shelters, because the food will go, it's a food safety thing. The food can go bad after so long of not being refrigerated, or it can be exposed to pests like animals and such, and people can get sick. And I get that. And then you can sue the place. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. I get it. But I see so much food go to waste, and I actually I used to know someone that lived in a homeless shelter. He actually used to work there for a little while where I work, but he quit due to health issues. But the stories he used to tell me were really, really brutal. Like how these homeless shelters are, how they treat the people, and how like they're fed not very much. I mean, they hardly get any nutrition, and they get really, really bad quality food, the whole 9 yards. And I even brought it up myself once. I said I will personally take all this food and deliver it to like homeless shelters around in the area, because this is messed up. And I get it, the whole food safety thing, but there's got to be a way, some sort of loophole, some sort of rule, something where you can make that work, because I think it's just ridiculous how much food goes to waste, and they have a hard time with allowing just everyday employees take it home even, and that's messed up. Like, come on. So that's my list. That is number 10, and there's probably some stuff I left out, or some stuff I meant to mention that I did not, just because I forgot. But I think you get the point. And I'm thinking now there might be a completely separate video I do on just like good versus bad management. But we'll cross that bridge later. If you guys have anything to add, or any questions, or anything like that, comments, concerns, of course, down below, you know where to put that stuff in the comments. Or email me, as I always say. I always check. I have a YouTube email specifically for this channel, so, and I check it every single day. So feel free to reach out about anything. But that being said, I'm going to close this out. So thank you guys once again very much for watching this. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, you know what to do. Please like, subscribe, comment, email me, hit the bell or whatever. I don't know what that thing even is. Thank you guys again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'll see you next time. God bless.